What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Pee Wee the Plug, Big Stacks Porzingis, 1/4 through the wire, #1 Knicks fan in the world. And today's video is an emergency trade deadline video. The trade deadline is officially over. We had some surprises. We had some big trades. We had some small trades, and we had some important trades. I'm here in this video today to go over all of them, or the ones worth talking about that y'all want to hear my opinion on and whatnot. To be honest with you, I don't even know where to start. I don't know if I should start with the big Wiggins-Russell, Andre Drummond news, or do I start small with the itty-bitty ones and then work our way up? But I'm going to just go off what's in front of me. We live right now. We in real live time. None of this is anything that's planned or theatrical or real, put together. This is just raw, uncut, laptop, camera, microphone, me and my thoughts right off the top of the brain. I got no notes. I'm scrolling through looking at trades to communicate about. But before we even get started in there, as y'all can see, I am wearing an exclusive Bill with Ben hoodie. This is exclusive, a one of one that I got right now. So y'all let me know in the comments. I know y'all are big fans of the D-Book merch, which will be coming back. If you haven't heard the news, Teespring, the company I was working with the shirts, they got on some bullshit. They did say it with it. So I'm gonna be going to a different website and a different company, and we working with them through that. But then these are also next in store. So if y'all rock with these, let me know and we can get these moving. But without further ado, let's discuss these trades. And I'm on Woj page right now. I got Bleacher Report up right now, and I think I'm gonna just go with the flow and what's in front of me. And the top one is the Marcus Morris trade. Because right before the trade deadline ended, the Wizards got involved as third team, and so the Clippers are now getting Marcus Morris and Isaiah Thomas. The Wizards will be getting Jerome Robinson, who they say is somebody that they were trying to draft in 2018 anyway, and then Mo Harkless and a 2020 first-round pick is coming to the Knicks. So I'm a Knicks fan. So I guess that makes sense that I start with that one, and everyone want to know my opinion off the top about Marcus Morris, because y'all know I really vibe with Marcus Morris. I love what he was bringing to the team. One of my favorite players on this year's team. It is what it is. I'm happy for him. He gets to go to a place where he can compete, try to get a championship. I don't know if the Clippers are the best perfect team for him, but I do know they're a better fit as far as winning than the Knicks was. I don't think he'll be giving them the same level of production, obviously, because here in New York, he was kind of the #1 option. Now going to the Clippers, I don't even know what option he is, because you have Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell off the bench. They're all important roles and important pieces to that offensive movement. So I don't know what Marcus Morris is going to do as far as what role or how they're going to implement him. I don't even know if he's going to start, come off the bench. It'll be really, really surprising to see what they do. They'll probably start him, actually. I take that back. They'll probably start him. He's a guy that can play versatile on a wing, 3 or 4. But I do like the fact that he's going there. It's a grimy team. He seems to be cut from that type of cloth that they have over there with Patrick Beverley, Lou Williams. Kawhi is a calm, cool killer. PG is a calm, cool killer. Montrezl Harrell and them boys. I really like that fit as far as locker room and what they're about. The type of attitude that those guys have. He really goes in there and fits in perfectly. As the Knicks perspective, he was a guy that was killing, putting up career numbers with us. He was going to be able to get a new contract from us. So I like the fact that he was there to kind of create a new level of intensity for the Knicks. But, we got a first-round pick out of it. Mo Harkless, he's solid. He won't be anybody that's a part of our future plans, but that first-round pick is another one that we get to add to the collection that we have accumulated over time from the Mavericks and the Porzingis trade, and then, of course, our own picks, including this one that this year should be a top 5, top 3 type pick. So you add another one, and that just gives us another asset to work with to continue to build on our team. As far as the Wizards, they were able to come in and get a young combo guard and to give up Isaiah Thomas on a team that really wasn't doing anything outlandish, and Isaiah Thomas didn't really have a significant role. So they get a little bit younger, and they had just acquired Shabazz Muhammad from the Nuggets for Jordan McRae, so we can interlude, connect that trade to this one. So they get another younger guard. They lost they lost Jordan McRae, and then they got Shabazz Napier there. But then now they don't really need Isaiah Thomas because they got Shabazz Napier, so they were able to flip him, who was on a 1-year little minimum deal, and then they got another young piece to add to hopefully what we'll see next year, as in John Wall and Bradley Beal. James Ennis was traded to the Magic for a second-round pick. I don't know what Philadelphia is going to do with the second round pick now that the trade deadline is over. Hopefully they'll hit the buyout market, but they were last night able to get Glenn Robinson and Alec Burks from the Warriors for basically like a second round pick. So that seems to be a bonus. Actually, now, see, I'm working off live time, so y'all got to work with me. Now that I think about it, them acquiring Glenn Robinson and Alec Burks pushed them over the edge of number of players by 2. So they had to get rid of 2 players. They got rid of James Ennis for a second round pick. So they got rid of 1. Now we'll see them in the next coming days or buyout market, buyout time. They'll probably be waiving another player so that they can have a full roster with Alec Burks and Glenn Robinson coming from the Warriors. I like it for the 76ers. We know that they needed some added depth, especially coming off of that bench. Alec Burks is a guy that can handle the ball, create shots. Glenn Robinson is showing he has the ability to knock down shots and defend multiple positions on the Warriors. I feel like both of those guys use their time with the Warriors to really get, their confidence up and show people around the league, teams like, Philadelphia, that they can play and contribute to some winning teams. And I feel like Alec Burks is the type of guy coming off that bench that is going to really get him a spark, an additional ball handler for when Ben Simmons isn't on the court. He can also play off the ball so he can play with Ben Simmons. And then Glenn Robinson is kind of like a younger, more consistent James Ennis in a sense. He's going to be a guy that's going to give you some defense. He can probably shoot the ball a little bit more reliable than James Ennis. So I kind of like what the 76ers did right there. They kind of took nothing because they didn't really have anything to work with to make some big significant trade, but they did give themselves some added pieces to that depth, and that could go a long way for them. That's a trade that may make or break them. You know what I mean? That depth was a big minus for them, and the fact that they didn't have to give up a Zaire Smith or Furkan Korkmaz, who have been improving over the last couple of months. The fact that they were able to keep them and then add 2 solid additional pieces to come off their bench, I think they get, a round of applause from me, and I grade them at like a B for what they did. Now, Denver getting Jordan McRae, I kind of like that. There was really no need for Shabazz Napier coming off of their bench. So I kind of like Jordan McRae. He's been balling with the Wizards. Hopefully he can come over there and do the same thing for the Nuggets, seeing that they just lost, Malik Beasley to the Timberwolves. He can maybe, contribute somewhat what Malik Beasley did. Jordan McRae throughout his career, whenever he's gotten opportunities, he can score the ball. You know what I mean? He can score, so hopefully he can replace that for Denver because they're all about their depth. And even if he doesn't, I think they're still solid with Will Barton and Michael Porter Jr. and whatnot. But I do like the move just because I don't really think that there was any type of need for Shabazz Napier, and I think Jordan McRae will fit and be much more of an important need on that Denver Nugget team. And then out of nowhere, of course, I'll hold off on that one. Minnesota made another trade before we even get to the D-Lo one. And they traded, Gorgie Dang for James Johnson. So Gorgie Dang will be going to the Grizzlies, and James Johnson, who was traded from the Heat to the Grizzlies, will be going to the Timberwolves. I kind of like that. James Johnson is a guy who's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. Can play the 3-4, can do a little bit of everything. He's tough. He's going to, be a locker room presence. I don't know how long they plan on having him around or, what type of role they'll have for him, but I do know that he can play 3-4. He can guard multiple positions. He can occasionally knock down a three-point shot. He's a bit of a smart player, can make some plays here and there. And I think he'd be good in the front court occasionally with Cat if you're going to pair those two at times. And I think Gorgie Dang's time with Minnesota was kind of running out, like Wiggins and Jeff Teague and a lot of other guys that they end up getting rid of. And it was good to see them they're just going in a new direction. They putting their foot down. We all know they went out and got Wiggins-Russell. I guess this is a great segue into that trade. They traded Andrew Wiggins, a 2021 first round top 3 protected pick, and a second round pick in 2022, all to the Warriors for D'Angelo Russell, Omari Spellman, and then Jacob Evans. I like it. I was rooting for them to make this move, and it came out of nowhere because we know that talks had stalled over the previous 2 days. And we got the information that Bob Myers from the Warriors picked up the phone last night and called them after their tough loss, their 13th straight loss. Again, it's been said so many times, Cat and the Timberwolves haven't had a win since November, 13-game losing streak. And they got that call from Bob Myers, and I guess he, kind of reiterated some things about that trade, and they got down and made it happen. And I respect that from Bob Myers because he saw what was going on. And I also want to give, the proper credit and applause and salute to Karl-Anthony Towns, because I feel like his comments is what probably drove Bob Myers to make that call, and it kind of probably put the pressure on the Timberwolves to receive that call and feel like they needed to make a move. After last night's game, Karl-Anthony Towns went out and said that's enough losing. It's not what he wants to do. He's tired of it. And I feel like those type of claims from your best player in your organization puts the pressure on you to now do something to make them feel comfortable, give them some more hope that y'all can put a proper team around them to compete. Because when a statement like that comes from your best player in the face of your franchise, you have to begin to think that they could potentially get unhappy and upset and be on their way to force a trade, which is a situation that you don't want to do when you have a talent like Karl-Anthony Towns. So I'm proud of him for speaking up. Sometimes it's not a position that every player is comfortable with being in, and they don't want to have to make those type of remarks in the media. But sometimes, like they say, a closed mouth don't get fed. So he was able to speak up, speak his mind, be truthful, and they were able to deliver, a trade that not only gets them better, but also makes them more comfortable, because they didn't just go out and get a nice, young, solid player who was once an all-star. They went out and got a guy that is that on the floor, but then off the court is also a guy that he's very, very close with, if not the closest player he's with in the NBA. So now he's happy, off the court, and he has something to have some confidence in and has some hope that y'all can eventually turn this thing around in the upcoming year or so to get them back in a playoff situation. Another thing I want to highlight with this trade is this makes them one piece away from what they talked about in their Slam magazine. I don't know how familiar you guys are with it, but there was a Slam magazine with D'Angelo Russell, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Devin Booker. And one of them had a quote where they spoke out in the interview and basically said their plan was down the line to all be able to play together with each other. They didn't know how it was going to work. They didn't know where it was going to be. But now when you look at Minnesota and they already have 2 of the 3, and you look at Devin Booker over there in Phoenix, who is also in a situation kind of like Cat, where he's not winning. You know what I mean? They're 12th in the Western Conference with 20 wins, looking like they're not going to make the playoffs. They haven't had any reassuring, pieces or picks to make him feel any comfortable. It looked like they did at the beginning of the season when Kelly Oubre was hooping, Aaron Baines, Ricky Rubio, but things since then have slowed down, and now they're on the outside looking in of the playoffs once again. You know what I mean? They've made a lot of draft mistakes after getting him at 13th, which was a diamond in the rough. Josh Jackson at 4th didn't work. Dragon Bender at number 4 didn't work. Marquise Chris at 8, who was also like another lottery pick, didn't work. So you have lottery pick after lottery pick who not only didn't work, but they're not on the team anymore, and some of them are almost out of the league. So you didn't drop the ball, but you kind of like dropped the ball and broke the ball completely. So time may be running out over there as well. So they're 2 out of 3 pieces away from having that big 3, and I will keep my eye. I'm not saying anytime soon, or I'm not trying to throw anything out there, but I would definitely keep my eye in the upcoming seasons or any situation going on with Phoenix. I would keep my eye on that and watch that closely, because I wouldn't be surprised if D'Angelo Russell Cat kind of got in D-Book's ear to try to make that situation become what they once talked about and hoped. And I have all the confidence in the Timberwolves to make this work. I think this takes them to another level. You now have 2 pieces that you can build around. You have other 2 pieces like Josh Okogie and Jared Culver to put around them. And I think you have nothing to lose with the second half of the season. You know what I mean? This gives them time to gel, figure things out. And from an organization standpoint, it gives you the time to kind of evaluate what you have and what you don't. And then when the offseason comes, you'll have probably another lottery pick, because you probably won't make the playoffs. I think it's just too much ground to pick up. But you look and you see what you need, and you take that into the offseason and the draft, and then in the free agency, and you put the proper pieces around them. I don't think that Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell needs another max contract player. Of course, if you can get it, why wouldn't you? But I think if you just put the solid complementary pieces around them, you can have a team that can eventually compete for a playoff spot next season in the West. And then, for the years to come, you can have something that could grow into something dangerous, because these guys are only 23. Already have both been all-stars. Cat is, arguably the best center in the league. D'Angelo Russell at 23 has already shown flashes of being able to be a guy that can get you 40 points on any given night. And by making him the full point guard and giving him the full reins of the offense, we'll be able to see that underrated passing ability and playmaking ability that he got that made him so heralded coming out of Ohio State a couple years ago. Now, from the Warriors standpoint, this trade could be a little bit confusing. But with more information now that the trade has occurred, we see that the Warriors believe that the environment that they have will boost up and get Andrew Wiggins to be a player that we all think that he can be. And I kind of agree with that. I think when you surround him with the type of players like Clay, Steph, and obviously Draymond, the motivational guy that's going to hold you accountable, you put him in a situation with a better flowing offense, more space, more things that kind of complement his game, and you put him in a winning environment with MVPs and guys that know how to work and win, and he may become a much better player. You know, I look at him as another Harrison Barnes, but maybe even better. He's definitely younger, and he definitely has a little bit more to his game, which could be dangerous or not, because Barnes' game was limited, but that also made it easy for him to fit in with them because he didn't have to do too much. Wiggins may have to need a little bit more responsibility on the offensive end to keep him engaged and keep him involved. But, you know, I think the Warriors deserve to have our benefit of the doubt and our trust because of their past moves, and they've been to, you know, the last 5 championships, and they won 3. So I think when it comes to them having plans and having, you know, goals and whatnot, we should give them the benefit of the doubt that they'll be able to execute. And if it doesn't work out, I think you still have Andrew Wiggins on a big contract, and then you got to pick from the Minnesota Timberwolves, which is top 3 protected, and then you have your own this year, which could be a top 5 pick at what they're at. And if it doesn't work, you have his contract and those assets, and you can potentially put that together to go and get somebody that may be disgruntled on another team or on another franchise or whatever. I don't really think the Warriors are that far away from being another top team in the West. I think they execute in free agency. They don't even need a max contract player there. They get a solid wing and a solid rim runner who can protect the rim occasionally, and I think they're right back in the mix with Steph Curry, Clay, Draymond, and an improved Andrew Wiggins being their third optional offense. They could be something decent. But I'm rooting for Andrew Wiggins. I think this is exactly what he needed: a change of scenery, less expectations, winning organization around winning players that are going to be selfless and make sure that he's comfortable to do whatever he needs to do. And then we got this. This came out of nowhere, but Andre Drummond to the Cavaliers for Brandon Knight and a second-round pick in John Henson. You know, it was mixed feelings. A lot of Pistons fans were pissed because it's just like you really kind of traded him for a bag of chips. But then there was some other Pistons fans like, what were we supposed to do? We really had our back against the wall. And we had the fear of potentially losing him in free agency. But I feel like you had all this time to try to formulate a trade and get a proper deal going, especially because you made your entire roster available. So you could have paired him with a Luke Kennard, with a Derrick Rose, you know what I mean? Somebody, and really got something going and got something good. I just feel like John Henson, Brandon Knight, and that second round pick really won't formulate to anything. And you kind of were better off keeping him. You know what I mean? You kind of was better off just keeping him for the rest of the year and potentially bringing him back and paying him the money you wanted to pay him, because this return just isn't anything. This return is kind of equivalent to losing him for nothing. Unless you get some second round pick that is just under the radar and turn into Jimmy Butler or, you know, Draymond Green. I don't really understand it. From Cleveland's standpoint, you know, low risk, high reward. You know, you bring him in. If he works and he fits with what y'all got going on, you'll be able to pay him and bring him back. If not, you took a chance and you really didn't give up anything. So I like it from Cleveland's standpoint. Again, I don't understand it from the Pistons standpoint because you didn't bring back anything significant that you could potentially keep. That second round pick probably won't really amount to nothing, especially with the draft history that the Pistons have had. I don't really know. But I like it for Cleveland. Again, you take a chance. If it doesn't work out, he walks. You didn't give up anything. If it fits, then you got another piece to put with some of that young talent that they have. And it could be something going forward. Another little small trade is Portland traded, you know, Labissiere and cash to Atlanta. You know, Minnesota second round pick that's going to Golden State is not 2021, it's 2022, which is what I said, so we know that. Jordan Bell is going to be staying in Houston. He's going to go to Memphis for Bruno Caballo. I never know how to pronounce his last name, but apparently that's somebody that Houston has been eyeing for some while. Kind of surprised me because I thought Jordan Bell was a nice undersized center that they would probably like to rebound and just set screens. And that after that is pretty much it. I mean, we have some more little small trades. We have Derek Walton Jr. of the Hawks going to the Hawks for cash and the Clippers. You know, Oklahoma City didn't really make a move. They didn't make a move at all. Miami wasn't able to get Gallinari. We already know the trade. Miami gets Iguodala, they get Jay Crowder, and then they send Justice Winslow, Dion Waiters, and James Johnson to Memphis. James Johnson then goes to Minnesota, and then Memphis gets Gorgie Dang. So Memphis got Justice Winslow, Dion Waiters, and Gorgie Dang. The Heat got Andre Iguodala, Solomon Hill, and Jay Crowder, and then Minnesota gets James Johnson. I like what the Heat did. I think they got guys that all fit that type of culture. Just kind of how the Marcus Morris to the Clippers is. The same thing with Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder going to the Heat. It's a culture. It's a way we act. Locker room. It's all gonna mesh on the floor. You're gonna be aggressive, in your face, locking you up, trying to beat you up physically. And I can't wait to see them in the playoffs. Same thing with the Clippers. But more so with the Clippers, I just know that Marcus Morris can at times be a guy that's gonna look for a shot. And he's so used to being a number one option that I'm afraid that it may not work in that area. But I think the Clippers are still a superior team. If we talk about winners of the trade deadline, I mean, you got to look at the Timberwolves. They went from having no talks at all to having Karl-Anthony Towns be upset last night, 13-game losing streak. To then you wake up hours after he made those comments and you give him Wiggins-Russell. I just think that that's just the best thing that you could have done if you were Minnesota. And the fact that they were able to execute it so quick, it makes them the winners. I think the Clippers are winners. They went out and got Marcus Morris. I think that can work. The Knicks are winners. You went out and got a pick for Marcus Morris. I don't think anybody expected his value to be a first-round pick. Andre Iguodala is another winner. He sat out half the season and got a $30 million extension. The Heat were able to turn Justice Winslow, Dion Waiters, and guys that weren't really playing into guys like Jay Crowder, Iguodala, you know what I mean? And Solomon Hill is a contract that they'll probably get rid of after the season, and it's going to unload some money for them to potentially go and get somebody else in the offseason. Losers, Detroit by far is probably the biggest loser that I see. I'm happy with what Philly did, but I definitely have to give the biggest loser to the Pistons. It just didn't make sense to me at all, and I'm interested to see how the buyout market is. We already got Detroit is waiving Tim Frazier, so he'll be on the buyout market. And yeah, a lot of guys stay put. A lot of guys end up getting moved real quick last minute. And I can't wait to see what happens on the next couple of days with more added information, so we get more motives and why Andre Drummond got traded at the snap of a finger and what happened, with that situation. But I can't wait to see these guys on the court. I want to know y'all thoughts. Communicate to me. We still have some days to let this marinate before the full-blown podcast. So I'm gonna use that time to kind of let these things soak in and get, like I said, more full details about what's about to happen and what to expect come buyout market. So let me know y'all thoughts and opinions. Anything that y'all thought or any feelings y'all have, because I know we got a lot of different people who are a lot of different fans of these teams that got active. And who y'all think were winners and losers, and what y'all wish would have happened, or what y'all wish y'all team would have done if you were a fan of like OKC or Indiana who didn't make a move. You leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new, and also again, Bill with Ben hoodies. If y'all like these, you know what I mean. I don't know if you can really see them. Get close. You got Bill with Ben Simmons right there with the bricks and the little paster thing to build a little whatever he's building, but it's built with Ben. Y'all know the movement I started on Twitter. If you with it and you like this and you think it's dope, go get you one. Matter of fact, we'll move this even closer, get y'all a better look. You know what I mean? Bill with Ben, man. Hashtag. Shout out to my boy Cushy for the design. Big Stacks. Out!